You find yourself driving down a winding, tree-lined road, flanked by silent pines that tower over you like ancient sentinels. The late afternoon sun filters through the branches, casting dappled shadows on the pavement. You're headed toward the old cabin you inherited from an estranged uncle, once a figure of family myth and mystery, now a mere collection of splintered wood, peeling paint, and faded memories. It's been years since anyone set foot there, and the thought of spending a week in solitude unsettles a part of you. But the escape from the chaos of your city life beckons like a siren song. The cabin looms into view almost suddenly, as if waiting for you in ambush. Its crooked roofline seems to sag under the weight of neglect, and the boarded windows give it a ghostly, watchful appearance. A part of you shivers, a fleeting recognition of the tales whispered in your family, the strange accidents, the disappearances, and the uncanny events that occurred within these very walls. Your uncle's family had distanced themselves for a reason, but you push these thoughts aside. This place is a chance to unwind, to disconnect, perhaps to rediscover yourself. Pulling up to the cabin, you grab your backpack and step out into the crisp evening air. The scent of pine and earth fills your lungs, invigorating yet laced with something uncanny, something that prickles at your skin. You approach the front door, pausing for a moment as if it might swing open at your touch. You draw in a long, steadying breath, fumbling with the key that your uncle had tucked inside a yellowed envelope left behind in the family's safety deposit box. It fits perfectly into the rusted lock, and with a reluctant push, you open the door. Inside, the air is stale, thick with the musty scent of time. Dust motes dance lazily in the fading light that spills through the gaps in the boarded windows. You flick on an ancient lantern that sits on a rickety table, casting feeble light against the splintered walls. Shadows leap and twist in the dimness, creating shapes that shift just beyond your comprehension. This is your home for the week, a silence to be broken only by your thoughts. As you unpack, you can't shake the feeling of being observed, the sensation of eyes boring into your back. Every creak of the house seems amplified, each groan of the aging wood echoing in the stillness. The reality of your surroundings drapes over you like a shroud, each room you navigate revealing eccentricities you can only describe as wrong. The kitchen is small, the cupboards filled with mismatched dishes, but you can't help but notice a peculiar set of knives hung on the wall, each one gleaming under the lantern light as if they were polished that very morning. Choosing to avoid the unsettling collection, you opt instead to explore the grounds. Outside, the oppressive quiet looms, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. The forest encircles you like a protective barrier, its dark mouth nearly swallowing the cabin whole. You venture a few paces beyond the tree line, even as a grieving weight settles in your chest, a yearning for the familiar warmth of human chatter. After a few minutes, you turn back to the cabin, feeling the creeping dread of isolation settling in. Inside, as night falls, you pull out your uncle's old journal, hoping to glean some insight into his life, perhaps even into the stories that haunted him. The pages are yellowed, ink faded, but your fingers graze over notations that appear erratic, haphazard. They speak of strange rituals performed in the forest, of voices carried on the wind, of shadows that dance just out of sight. Your heart pounds as you read of missing persons, neighbors lost to the darkness and never found. The farther you delve, the more unnerved you become. The journal's pages begin to blur before your eyes, words running together as if the weight of the stories was materializing into something altogether more sinister. You glance outside, the world beyond the cabin now drenched in shadow, and that sense of being watched return, suffocating. Shaking off the chill that grips you, you decide to lock the door, though that sense of unease doesn't fade. The lantern flickers, and a cold draft tugs at your clothes, yet the windows remain sealed, the door heavy against your shoulder. You're alone, or at least you should be. That night you sleep fitfully, awoken more than once by the echo of distant whispers, the wind weaving through the trees like a ghostly voice. You tell yourself it's nothing, a mere trick of the mind, but the feeling wraps around you like a wet blanket. Morning arrives like an unwelcome guest, dragging you from the clutches of sleep, leaving you disoriented and anxious. Forced to confront another lonely day, You stir to the aroma of damp earth and wood smoke, even though the fireplace sits cold and silent. Determined not to succumb to fear, you embrace the tasks of the day, fixing up the cabin and trying to breathe life back into its walls. As you scrub dust from the tables and clear away remnants of the past, you stumble upon a hidden trapdoor beneath a rug in the bedroom. Your heart thunders in your chest as you pry it open, revealing a set of narrow, creaky stairs leading down into a darkness that feels alive. A cacophony of doubts and fears roil in you, but you can't ignore the pulse of curiosity. There's something down there, a part of your uncle's legacy you're compelled to discover. Grabbing a flashlight, you descend slowly, each step echoing around you like a funeral toll. The air grows cold, almost brittle, as if you've crossed some threshold where time flows differently. You reach the bottom to find a small basement room, its damp walls covered with strange markings, sigils of unknown origin, swirling patterns that feel wrong to your very core. In the center, a faded rug hides what appears to be a small altar, cluttered with strange trinkets and bones. You can't bring yourself to examine them closely. A nauseating dread constricts your stomach. Your instinct is to retreat, to bolt back upstairs and lock the door behind you, but something holds you in place, a dreadful anticipation nearly palpable in the air. You run a finger over the surface of the altar, shivers racing down your spine as a memory flashes in your mind. A child's laughter mingled with a girl's voice, beckoning from the darkness. With each heartbeat, the fleeting joy transforms into something sinister, stealing your breath and leaving you cold and trembling. Suddenly, a flicker in the shadows at the corner of your eye draws your attention. You spin around, flashlight beam dancing wildly, illuminating nothing but dark corners, damp walls, and stray bits of debris. Heart racing now, you leave the basement without looking back, scrambling up the steps to the main floor, slamming the trapdoor shut and hiding the rug over it as if somehow it will erase what you've seen. You refuse to return to the basement. Instead, you spend the next few days focusing on tasks that tame the dread simmering under your skin. You take long walks in the woods, trying to lose yourself in the beauty of your surroundings, but the trees whisper secrets, words just out of reach. Your mind drifts back to the journal, opened on the kitchen table like an invitation, its pages mocking you with their contents. One evening, unable to keep the thoughts at bay, you delve into the journal once more. Ink flows into your mind, etching dark images across your vision. Mentions of a girl who disappeared, her laughter echoing through the forest, calls for help that mixed with the soft rustling of leaves, nightmarish shadows that stirred beneath the branches. The gravity of the words pulls you into their depths, leaving you disoriented. Anchored in a world where the line between myth and reality blurs frighteningly. Days slip away in a blur of dread and denial until the night breaks you. You awaken with a jolt. Hushed voices swirl through your rooms, curling like smoke around your ears. Someone is calling your name from outside. In the fuzzy realms of your sleep, it sounds familiar, sweet even. Urge, in you, to join them, to step into the embrace of the trees. Your heart races as you sit up, listening intently, but the sounds are gone as quickly as they came. Your skin prickles with alarm as you glance out the window. The moon hangs in the sky, a watchful eye, and the forest looms dark and still. The whispers that play tricks in your mind seem more pronounced, echoing within the walls of the cabin. You know you should ignore it, crawl back under the thin blanket of safety. And yet, your body betrays you, rising from bed like a puppet on strings, compelled by a force you cannot understand. You step outside, drawn by that haunting voice. The moon illuminates a path through the trees, the air electric with anticipation. Each step toward that call feels like wading through water, an unseen weight pressing against your chest. And then suddenly, the voice becomes clearer, a sweet melody curling around your senses, pulling you deeper into the woods. You cannot help yourself, you follow. Deeper and deeper you tread, the world around you dissolving into shades of silvery light and shadow. You don't remember the trees shifting, don't remember the underbrush growing heavier with unseen eyes watching. The laughter echoes again, not distant now but surrounding you, wrapping around your heart in a vice grip. It sounds familiar, almost as if beckoning you to a reunion, a long-lost friend coaxing you to join them. But fears grip your mind, dark tendrils crawling through your thoughts. This is not right. You know this isn't right, yet the calling pulls you like a moth toward flame. You stumble into a clearing, your breath hitching as the moonlight floods the space, illuminating the altar you saw just days before in the basement. But it's not as you remember it. Shadows gather thicker here, and around the altar, figures dance in the flickering light, unmarked by time, their forms indistinct and nebulous. Their laughter rises and falls like the wind, a cacophony of joy twisted by something darker, something that knots in your stomach. And there, amidst the swirling shades, you see a girl with dark curls, her features soft and familiar. You don't recognize her face, but there's an echo in your heart that thrums and vibrates through your bones, a name you cannot recall but feel urged to whisper. She draws nearer, arms outstretched, beckoning you to join the dance, to lose yourself in the revelry of shadows. You step closer, your breath caught, heart racing, desperate to understand what draws you toward this girl. And then the laughter shifts, becomes a dissonance in your mind, an echo not of mischief, but of something ancient and terrible. Truth dawns like a bitter dawn. This is no reunion, no innocent game. As her gaze meets yours, a wildness glints in her eyes that shatters your spell. The shadows shift, and the laughter transforms into anguished cries. The names of the missing, the lost, the echoes of your uncle's journal. You turn to run, but the shadows lunge, pulling at your limbs, dragging you back toward the altar. You feel the weight of countless souls pressing down, as though the whispers of the forest beckon you to fulfill a dark promise. Panic surges through you, the forest swirling in madness. You remember the journals, the warnings, but they are drowned out by the others, the voices of those who were here before you, who danced before the altar, lost to time and memory. You scream, thrashing against cold hands that reach for you, pleading to let you escape. The girl laughs, not sweetly, not playfully, but with a chilling amusement that splits the air. You realize the woods sing not a song of freedom, but of entrapment, of darkness. In that moment of clarity, shattered and pure, you understand. It doesn't matter who you are. Those stories are now your own. With a resolve bolstered by fear, you shove against the unseen force, breaking free from the thrall that draws you to them. You flee into the trees, branches clawing at your face, thorns tearing at your flesh. You know the way back, know that the forest cannot hold. Ow. You emerge from the woods, gasping, collapsing against the cabin door, heart pounding in your chest. But as you lock the door tightly, you realize the laughter has faded, replaced by an oppressive silence that engulfs you anew. Behind those walls, you are safe for now, but your breaths hang in the heavy air like thick fog, too loud, too intrusive. You remember the altar, the girl, and the eyes watching from the shadows, and the knowledge settles in your bones. You are not the first, and you will not be the last. As sleep finds you, slipping once more into a restless slumber, you cannot chase away the understanding that something awaits in that darkness, something unsatisfied. And through the roots that twist beneath the cabin, and the earth that cradles the lost, you sense the promise of return. You shudder, a creeping dread curling around your heart, clutching you tight as you drift, not knowing if dawn will ever break again. Outside, shadows gather, whispering secrets in the night air, awaiting the next name to call. The woods sigh content, wrapping the cabin in a slow embrace as if to say, this story has only just begun.